Good to see you again. I hope you're doing well. This episode is about the importance of passing the torch in your day-to-day life with the example of Star Wars. Alright, so there was a beautiful lesson in Kenobi, and I think this is a really good lesson for Star Wars fans and for non-Star Wars fans. So stick around with me, let me know if the analogy still sticks. Duh, spoilers. Okay, there's gonna be spoilers in this for Kenobi. If you haven't seen it, it's been out for a year. So this little scene plays.
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to want to change a few things.
Then let's change things together.
And it's really sweet. I think it's a really good example of how each generation hopes the previous generation passes the torch to them. Oh, Star Wars has a huge history of dropping the torch before it's passed, chucking it off a cliff. So we see that Leia has learned an important lesson from hanging out with Obi-Wan, that maybe traditions or the traditional way of doing things is not always the best way of doing things. She also learns that parkour is literally the worst way to try and capture somebody in the history of trying to capture somebody.
Parkour!
So we see the lessons that Leia learns, and let's just take a step back and look at Obi-Wan, who is trying to get Leia back, Liam Neeson style. Obi-Wan has this bad history of dropping torches. He had a brother.
You were my brother, Anakin!
Who he was supposed to lead, mentor, and teach, and ends up leaving in a river of lava. Not exactly what I would call a successful outing with the bros. We have that. We can't really blame him though. His torch hander, his master before, Qui-Gon Jinn, also died. Not in a very pleasant way. Stabbed right through the liver. There's already a disconnect where Obi-Wan doesn't get the training he needs. Obi-Wan is unable to give the training he needs. And it forms this thing of attachment. And, you know, the Jedi always say, well, attachment is bad. This is that. But I think being attached to the wrong things is bad. Being so set in your ways that you're not able to adapt and change leaves you kind of open for an attack, right? So Obi-Wan, having had these experiences, tries to teach Leia something better. More patient approach, a more covert approach. Eventually, Obi-Wan learns to pass the torch pretty okay-ish. He leaves a lasting lesson for his Padawan, Luke. He teaches him, he kind of tells him about sort of guidelines, what to do.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
He just kind of seals his lessons with his death and talks with Luke a little bit more after he died. That's about it. Not much more you can do there. So, Obi-Wan, while my favorite character, not the best at passing torches. However, like with Luke, he tries to teach Leia something better. Teach her how to do something differently. Obi-Wan teaches Leia that sometimes removing yourself from the problem, taking a step back and looking at it from a different angle, will open up a more strategic way of dealing with that problem. And if you're too set in your ways to take a step back, the things around you are adapting and changing very quickly. So you need to be able to adapt and change as well. When Luke is going to destroy the Death Star, he says, hey, you can do this. Like, you know what to do, you'll be fine. And that vote of confidence is all that, you know, Luke needs to get the job done. Again, that vote of confidence is all that Leia needs to just
Do it.
Luke and Leia are Obi-Wan's success stories, while Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin are the examples of what happens when you fail to pass the torch correctly. I just think that this is really a beautiful thing that maybe got overlooked or glossed over. As we've kind of talked about this, like, the lesson is that, yeah, be adaptable, learn how to grow, but also be true to yourself and understand your roots, find your faith, and just stick with it. Like, be a good person and be willing to help others so that when it is your time to pass the torch, it's there. And that is from generation to generation. However, there's also a lesson here for your day-to-day lives. every interaction you have with somebody can be a positive or a negative. If you're able to make the majority of your interactions positive, you're going to leave a better impression on those around you and a lasting memory of who you are. I have seen for myself that if you are a nice person, that kindness goes a long, long way. Even galaxies far, far away. Appreciate you guys. I think you're awesome. Love you lots. We'll talk to you later.